Hello and welcome to my weekly comic book review video. This week I will be reviewing the books that were released on the 8th of August 2012. But before I get into this week's book, there is one book I want to review from last week. It was a book that got a lot of good reviews, so I decided to go and pick it up on Monday. And that book is Hawkeye, issue 1 by Matt Fraction and David Aja. An excellent book. I really enjoyed this book. The only reason I didn't pick it up is because I didn't really want to pick up any new titles, because I have a set amount of money each month and I like all the books I get, so I wasn't really looking to add anything. But I'd heard so much praise, I thought I'd try it out, and I must say I'm glad I did, because I loved it. The basic premise of this book is Hawkeye is an Avenger, and this is what he does on his days off. And what I really liked about it is it had this whole vibe of like Green Arrow from the 80s. Because like Green Arrow from the 80s, he was like this street level guy. And I'm not just saying this because they're both archers, but Green Arrow was this street level guy who dealt with street level villains. He didn't fight the big cosmic bad guys. He didn't have a rogues gallery with people like the Joker or the Penguin, or like Batman has, or like Spider-Man has with his villains. No, he dealt with proper villains, street level guys, drug dealers and the like, and murderers and stuff. But your street level people, right? And any time that he was never referred to in the comic as Green Arrow, it was always Oliver Queen. And he was, and also if another hero showed up, he was also always in street clothes and referred to by his real name. So if Green Lantern showed up, he'd be Hal Jordan. If Superman showed up, it'd be as Clark Kent, you know. Or if Batman showed up, it would be as Bruce Wayne. So and so it had this whole different kind of feel from all the other books. And this is kind of what they've done with Hawkeye. Through the book, he's called Clint Barton. The only point we see him in his uniform is at the beginning when he's falling off the building. That's the only time we see him in his uniform. The rest of the book is either in like t-shirt and jeans or in a suit, you know. Always got a little bit of purple in his outfit, but we don't see him dressed up. Nobody refers to him as Hawkeye. He doesn't use his arrows so anywhere in the book, so it has a totally different feel than you'd expect from like any kind of Avenger associated book. And I really like the direction they took with this book. The basic story is he comes out of hospital and he's going to his flat, and this woman's getting evicted by his landlord Ivan, who's this guy who wears tracksuits and calls everybody bro, and his gang all wear tracksuits, and they're threatening the woman in front of her kid to kill her because she can't pay the rent. They've tripled the rent, she can't pay it, and they're kicking her out. And Hawkeye's like, come on, don't threaten to kill her in front of her kids. And he looks at the contract to see if he can help, but it's an airtight contract, and Ivan says he's going to do the same to everybody, triple their rent, kick them all out, and then he's going to sell the building. So Hawkeye goes to this barbecue on top of the building that people have started having, and it's really formed this real community that people go up there now and talk to each other. And people are talking, and they're talking about the buildings being sold off, and somebody's buying up all the different buildings in the area. So then Hawkeye decides, you know what, there's a nice thing going on here. So I've got this money, I'm an Avenger, I don't really have much need. I'm either off fighting threats, or, you know, I don't really have any need for this money. So he uses his money to pay everybody's rent, to buy the buildings so this landlord Ivan can't evict him. And so he goes to offer Ivan this deal, but Ivan doesn't go for it, and that sort of takes the rest of the issue where it's going to go. But it's really great. Hawkeye, I think they get him spot on. He's a bit of a jerk sometimes, a bit of a dick, but his heart's in the right place, and he's a good guy, and he's he's an upstanding kind of guy, and he'll always have your back, you know, and he always stands up for the little guy. And I really, really love this book. The artwork as well is gorgeous. David Aja, his art's slightly different, doesn't use as many lines, but he gets so much emotion from his pictures, from posture and from facial expression. You know what the characters are thinking and feeling. You know, if you look at that bottom bottom 4 panels there, you can really tell what those characters are thinking and feeling, and you know, he does a really great job. Also, he uses loads of panels, you know, so many panels that some people would be scared to use, but he really uses them well. And you know, I just really loved this book. And you know, I've already picked which book I'm dropping so I can get this every month, because if it's going to be this book this great, it's going to be a very special book indeed. So yeah, I give Hawkeye issue 1 a thumbs up. Next up, getting on to this week's books now. The first book we got is issue 12 of The Incredible Hulk, written by Jason Aaron, art by Carlos Pacheco. And one of my big complaints about this book over the last couple of months has been the fact that we have a rolling artist. We don't have the same artist. Every issue it's a different one. Some of the artists we've had, they should not be allowed back ever to draw the Hulk, because they just couldn't draw the Hulk. They got him wrong. Some of the artists have been quite good, but definitely Carlos Pacheco is my very favourite. I love how he draws the Hulk in this book, and draws everybody in this book. It looks gorgeous. The story as well is really good. It continues the whole Stay Angry storyline. Hulk's getting fed up of Banner being one step ahead of him, so that he decides he's going to sit in this prison, because Banner's sort of broken him into this robotic prison underground. And Hulk decides, you know what, Banner, I know you want me to get you out of here. I'm not going to play your game. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to stay calm, and you're going to stay locked up. Then this robot scorpion attaches itself to Hulk's back and starts injecting him with stuff, which has the effect of making Hulk angry. Wolverine and the Thing are sent down to this prison because Banner was spotted breaking in, so they're sent to see what's happening, and they meet this very pissed off Hulk, and they start having laying the smackdown. This is my favourite double page spread of the issue. I love this picture of the Hulk battling the Thing and Wolverine there. The art throughout this book is gorgeous. By the end of the issue, we get to learn what Banner's plans are and why he's been collecting all these bits and pieces and what his aim is. And so everything sort of starts coming together now. I really enjoyed this issue. I'm really falling in love with Jason Aaron as a writer. I think I'm definitely going to go and check out some of his other work. And Carlos Pacheco on this issue, I think his art is gorgeous as well. You know, he really does a good job on this issue, and you know, it's a shame, you know, he's not going to be back, because I really like to see him draw the Hulk full time. But yeah, this was a really strong issue, and I'm really enjoying the Stay Angry storyline, and now we know where it's going. It's going to be very interesting going forward, how this is going to impact on the Hulk going forward. I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out. But yeah, I give Incredible Hulk issue 12 a thumbs up. Next up, we have Batgirl issue 12, written by Gail Simone, art by Adrian Schaff. It continues this introduction of this new character, Nightfall. This issue, you know, Batwoman's been sent in to get Detective McKenna, but she's been played by Nightfall, who has control over the different organisations, whether it's the police or other external organisations. Batgirl then gets a chance to go meet Nightfall, but she's got to go by herself. They've captured the kid she tried to save, and they're going to skin him alive if she doesn't meet them. So she's going to go and she's going to meet them to try and save this kid. And that's the basic setup for this issue. The whole fight, you do get to see Batwoman fight Batgirl at the beginning of the issue, but it ain't much of a battle. And the only reason you're going to buy this book is to see that fight. Don't, you know, because you don't see much. You know, I think they punch each other once or something, and then it's done. So it ain't really much of a fight. In saying that though, it is a great issue. We find a lot more backstory about who the Disgraced are. We find out a little bit more. It's sort of teased a little bit more about Nightfall. We do find a bit more about her life in prison inside Arkham Asylum. Commissioner Gordon also finds out his son has escaped Arkham Asylum. So all in all, you know, I thought this was a very strong issue. The story threads are starting to come together, and I'm enjoying this. I really am. It's a very underappreciated book. I love how Gail Simone writes Batgirl. She just writes as a fantastically well-rounded character, and Barbara Gordon's becoming fast one of my favourite female characters. And like I say, it's a very underappreciated book. You don't hear too many people talk about it, but every month Gail Simone just produces another really strong issue, and I just wish more people were reading this book. Really give it a go, you won't regret it. It's got some great stuff in here, and with the Joker's return imminent, you just gotta know that's going to play into the Batgirl book, because she's got such a history with the Joker, having shot Barbara Gordon. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this book, and I recommend people picking it up, and I give it a thumbs up. Another strong issue. Next up, a book, and this book is just crazy fun. It's issue 2 of 4 of The Space Punisher, written by Frank Terry, art by Max Texeira. And basically it's like somebody's took the premise of like, what would happen if instead of being based on Earth, what if the Marvel Universe was set in space, like Star Wars? And this is what you get. The Punisher's family have been killed by the Six-Fingered Hand, this mafia group. So he's going to find out the 6 heads of this mafia group, and he's going to take them out. He's already took out the Queen of the Brood, and he interrogates this guy called the Barracuda to find out the other 5 members. When these hitmen show up to take him out. This issue we also get to meet the Space Hulk, as things aren't going well, and he battles the Fantastic Four and the Hulkbusters before running into the Punisher and the Hitmen, and you know, and so all kinds of fun. This book is just like, it's not going to make you rethink your life, but it's just fun. It's just jam-packed with action. It's really ace seeing the different ways the different Marvel characters show up, and you see there's the Hulk's arrival as he battles the Hitmen. There's just some really great stuff. The art's really good, and it just really riffs the characters all slightly, you know, spaced versions of your regular Marvel characters, and it's just a really fun book. I'm really loving this book. It isn't very deep, but it's just fun, mindless fun, and I'm enjoying it, and I give it a thumbs up. Next up we have Batman and Robin issue 12, written by Peter Tomasi, art by Patrick Gleason. It finishes off the War of Robins and the Terminus storyline. I've really been enjoying this book, but the last issue I was a bit disappointed with. I felt the stories didn't really tie together too well, and it felt like 2 separate stories rather than one. But this issue, it finishes it nicely. We get the resolution tied in there nicely of the whole War of the Robins. We get to find out what Terminus's final plot is, and Batman and Robin have to battle him and his goons and try and save Gotham. And the end of this issue is very reminiscent of the end of Dark Knight Rises. So all in all, they come back full force. It still feels at the end of the issue, though I enjoyed this, it still feels Terminus, the story didn't really reach its potential. I think all the separate parts with the Terminus story and the War of the Robins, both were good ideas, and there were loads of good ideas there. I don't know if because they did the 2 stories together, they were fighting for attention, so they didn't reach their potential, and maybe if they'd have been done separately, they would have been worked out better. I don't know, but I don't know what it was, but they just didn't reach their full potential. As always, the art in here by Peter Tomasi is awesome. You see Batman here in his bat armor as he's battling Terminus. I've got to be careful which pages I show because I don't want to spoil any of the issue. There's Batman battling Terminus, but a really great issue. You know, it is one of the best Bat books out there, and I give it a thumbs up. Next up we have XMen Legacy issue 271, written by Christos Gage, art by, I always forget this guy's first name, Rafa Sandoval. This is one of them books I wasn't buying originally, And now I know there's a lot of hate out there for the Avengers vs X-Men series, but for the last 2 months that book has been Marvel's top selling book. And every time they do those kind of series, they have the crossover issues. And I've always thought the point of the crossover issues is to try and bring, not just to add extra meat to the story, but also to try and bring extra readers to other books. So, you know, X-Men Legacy, they did a 2-issue story with Miss Marvel and Rogue. And Miss Marvel's one of my favourite comic book characters. So I was there, and especially with Rogue. Rogue and Miss Marvel have so much history that I was there. And I really enjoyed those 2 issues. And I wanted to see what happened to Rogue at the end of that, because at the end of that, magic sort of sent Rogue to this other dimension. She couldn't keep her in the prison, so she sent Rogue to this other planet, and that's where this story kicks off. So I had to pick it up, and I'm glad I did. I really am enjoying this book, and I don't know what the future is of this book with the whole Marvel now, if this is one of the books that's going to be dropped and relaunched or what, or if it's going to carry on. But I'm really enjoying this book. And you know, Christos Gage is another guy that's coming up that I haven't read too much of his work, but I think I'd check out some of his other works. I'm really loving his work on this. Rogue has never been one of my favourite characters. I've always found her intriguing. The whole thing that she can't touch anyone because she'll absorb not just their powers but their thoughts and their memories. I've always found that an intriguing character, but she's never been one of my favourites. But he really writes her well in here. She's really well, and this story sees her trapped in this strange world. She's still got some of Miss Marvel's power, but she knows it's going to wear out, and she's going to find a way home. And there's these 2 groups of aliens fighting. There's this group called the Swarm, who are trying to take over the planet and be a hive mind, and these other aliens that are trying to fight them off. And she sort of comes in with these other aliens. They call her the Alpha. I think she's this great warrior. She knows her powers are going to run out, but they seem to know that there might be a way to send her home. So she's got to help these guys in the hope that her powers last long enough for her to help them and build up enough goodwill that they'll help her. So, you know, it's a really good story, really loads happening in here as she's getting used to it. It really has a vibe of World War Hulks. You know, just the second page, you know, she's thrown straight from the start. She's thrown into the action, and she's trying to find her way around this world and sort of suss out what these aliens want, who these aliens are, who are the good guys, who are the bad guys. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this story climaxes, and I'm really enjoying X-Men Legacy as a whole. And you know, I really hope, I have a feeling it probably will be, but I really hope it isn't going to be one of the books that's dropped, because I'm really enjoying it. But I give X-Men Legacy issue 271 a thumbs up. Next up we have Batman issue 12, written by, well, it's written by Scott Snyder, but inside it says it's co-written on some of the pages by James Tynion IV, and it's as though most of the art is Becky Coolan. The last few pages are done by Andy Clark. But all in all, this was a really good issue. I've loved this. This has been one of my favourite comics since the New 52 came out, and it's been one of the titles that I've never hesitated that it's going to be on my pull list every week, every month. Every month it is one of the books that I know I'm going to get. I've never contemplated dropping it. I love the whole Court of the Owls epic story, and this one we were going to get a one-off story away from everything. Death of the Family doesn't start till 2 months, which is the Return of the Joker. Next month is issue 0, so this is like kind of like a month out, the breather after the story. And they chose it to look more in depth at a character called Harper Row, who we briefly saw in issue 7, and she was in issue 1. If you look closely, you will spot her in issue 1. And she's this electrician, and she lives with her brother Cullen, and her brother's getting bullied and beaten up by this gang, and they break into their house and beat him up and shave his head so it says fag at the back of his head, so they can all tease him. And she tries to stand up to this gang, but things go bad quick. But then Batman turns up and he takes out this gang, and she's like really influenced by this, that this guy would, nobody's ever stood up for her, and that this guy would stand up and help her. And she becomes obsessed with Batman and finding out all about him, and that sort of pushes the second half of the story. But I really loved this. It was totally different to the whole Court of the Owls. You only see Batman like twice, but it speaks so much about bullying and about the society we live in, and not so much in this book, but the thing also it speaks about is how the difference one person can make. Because so much today, I can only speak about my city, I can't speak about anywhere else in the world, but I know here in Birmingham, in the UK, people are scared that if they see something bad happening, they will look the other way. They won't step in and say, what's happening here, can we help you? They would look away because they don't want reprisals on them. They don't want to get involved because they're scared of what's going to happen to them. So we live in a society now and a city where it's just full of fear. And the only people that win in an environment of fear are the bullies and the gangs. And that's basically what Birmingham is now. Nobody will step in if somebody's in danger or in trouble or getting attacked. Nobody would step in. You know, there have been stories where people have got beaten up on buses and nobody's done nothing. Everybody just sat there while somebody's got beaten up, you know, and he's in a hospital with serious injuries because they've been beaten up and stabbed, and nobody's done nothing. You know, and that's the world we live in now. And what this book shows you is, okay, I'm not saying everybody should go and dress up like Batman, but the difference that one person can make. Because the worst thing is when you're being bullied is you feel so humiliated and so low, but also so alone. And the fact that somebody out there would stand up for you and try and help you, and the difference that one person can make. But that if everybody had that same attitude of, yeah, I'm going to help, you know, what a better world it would be. You know, and that the bullies and the gangs wouldn't be able to do half the stuff that they pull because people would stand up. And if people stand together, they're a lot stronger than if they stand alone. And that's what, and this book, maybe I'm going too deep more than this book, but it was a great book that got me really thinking, and I really enjoyed it. The art as well, it's a different art than our regular artist Greg Capullo, but there's still some really great art in here, and I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was really great. It really makes you think on a deep level about the world we live in, and about the difference that one person can make, and about bullies, and about you know, how we can help people more. I really love this book, and this undoubtedly is my pick of this week, and I give it a thumbs up, and I really recommend checking that one out. Next up, last but no means least, we have Before Watchmen, Ozymandias, issue 2 of 6. I don't really quite understand the cover because it has no bearing on what is inside the comic. It continues the story from last month. Ozymandias wants to find out who's responsible for selling the drugs that his girlfriend overdosed on. He finds the drug lord and brings him to justice. He then decides that the world needs his skills, and he becomes a regular superhero calling himself Ozymandias. And he becomes obsessed with finding out what happened to Hoodie Justice, and he tries to find out, and that brings us to the end of the issue. I didn't enjoy this as much as the first one. The art is still gorgeous. It is really gorgeous. It's one of the best looking books out there. This is my favourite spread. I really like this double page spread of when he's fighting the gang. The first issue, at least, it gave us stuff we knew already, like him following Alexander the Great's journey. But other than that, it added new stuff like his childhood and Miranda. I can't remember them being in the other book, in the Watchmen book, too much. This issue doesn't really bring anything new. He avenges his girlfriend's death, brings the drug lord to justice, he becomes a superhero, and pretty much everything in this book that happens is nothing that's new. I felt they got the character dead right. He sounds and feels like, yeah, this is Adrian Veidt's Ozymandias. So they did that really well, but nothing really happens new in it. If you know, nothing that we don't learn anything more about Ozymandias than we didn't already know, and it was just a whole thing of, well, why does this book exist? It's not telling us anything new. It's not giving us a new perspective on anything like the first issue did. So I was a bit disappointed, and I don't know if it's because I enjoyed the first issue so much that I'm disappointed in it, but I just didn't enjoy this issue. It really dragged for me, and the end was a bit we know what happens here. Like, yeah, you can maybe explore his feelings. I hope we don't get like too much in depth, that maybe the next issue sort of kicks up after what we know has happened, and we get his brooding and his, you know, that might add something to it. But this issue wasn't anything new, but I really love the art still, and the art is gorgeous. But I'm afraid I'm gonna have to give Ozymandias issue 2 thumbs in the middle. So that's my books of this week. I hope you're all well, and thanks for watching my video. If you like my video, down below me there's a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Please rate me, let me know what you thought in the comment section also below. And if you did like this video and want to check out some of my other videos, then please, up there is a subscribe button that will get, every week will alert you on your feed when I've uploaded a new video. Once again, thanks for watching. Hope you all have a good week, and bye for now.